Bitcoin has passed 40k zone and didn't see any kind of correctional or rejection near this zone. So let's see what's going on with it today. Good morning traders, welcome back to the channel, and we are back with Bitcoin on a weekly time frame and later on a daily time frame as well. Now straight to the point. We all have been waiting for this, some less, some more. We personally less, of course, but we hit 40k zone, breaching completely on a weekly time frame without any struggle or any kind of rejection or retest to the lower zones as well. But if we zoom in, what we see is the last weekly candle closed below 40k zone, meaning there are high potentials for this kind of movement to be some sort of like short squeeze. And of course we will talk about this later, as well as we had like millions of dollars liquidations happening on the markets in the last 24 hours. Now on a weekly time frame, very quick overview, we still see markets potentially to move to the lower zones. Of course, first targets would be near 30k or even this zone. So basically, let's make a box of this, starting from this zone till this zone, meaning this correctional movement here. And of course, who knows, markets, they're really unpredictable, but one thing is pretty like simple. We have still like 130 days left until the halving happens, and we are already in bullish market, which is bad. As historical looking, I think we have here as well, yep, historical looking, we had similar pattern happening here. So let's zoom it like this. 100 days basically, prices pushed heavily, and then happened the major drop of minus 16%. So prices dropped from 10k to basically 3.9k. And the similar outcome basically happened here as well, where prices pushed before halving. So this is the halving of 2016. Prices pushed heavily. Let's see the percentage of it. It was like, okay, it's pretty massive, 80k, sorry, not 80k, but 80% of market price movement before the halving, which is of course bad sign for the Bitcoin. And straight after this, slightly before and after, prices dumped nice 40% basically. We might see similar outcome to happen to Bitcoin. As you can see, this is the next halving point, which should be in the April of who knows when, but April is the date as predicted to be the next halving. So quick overview of the Bitcoin. What we talked about is we see that last weekly candle was bullish, but it got closed below 40k, which is good sign for the bears. The next candle seems to us more of like short squeeze, as it liquidated majority of coins, and RSI is still going upwards in the overbought zone. And historical, of course, similar pattern usually resulted in a nice drop of the Bitcoin. So from the last times, let's say we drop even like 40%, which is basically the zone we have been aiming for, or 60%, which is these zones here. But it's pretty radical to say that we will drop here as of now. First target should be this zone here. Now going on a daily time frame. So on a daily time frame, it is a little bit different, but let's start with the RSI. We are in overbought zone again, which is bad for RSI. Bollinger Bands is of course as well in the overbought zone, as you can see, going for the overbought zone. Now what's interesting actually is on a daily time frame, we see that we have been forming a pattern of 3 white soldiers, meaning first soldier, second and third one, and usually they result in a nice breakout or breakout structure, which happened of course here, resulting in a massive bullish movement towards breaking this 40k zone, and currently price is at 41,700, almost 42k, which is ridiculous. As Zooming out again, after breaking out from the EMAs, we haven't touched not a single EMA on a daily time frame for a retest, which is of course bad, meaning there are many unfilled gaps near those zones here. So this full zone here is basically unfilled gap which has to be filled. This bullish trend here isn't so unnatural, but more like pretty normal bullish trend with higher highs, lower highs, and so on. But this zone was left just alone. Now imagine if we will break below 40k again and move to the lower zones and fill these zones here, which are on the bigger time frame, of course, again, our major targets as well. Now, and also the greed and fear index is of course at 74, meaning we are still in a greedy market. People do feel greedy and they fear of missing out on a potential gains. But this time we want to look also at a heat map, meaning liquidity. Now let's go and look at liquidation heat map for the Binance, as Binance has the most liquidity inside its platform. Now, straight to the point, we see that on the upper sides there are not major any kind of like liquidations to be happening. We see some small liquidations might be near 41,900 basically, but it's 20 million dollars worth of dollars, meaning not so much. But what's getting our interest here is actually these lower zones here, meaning this nice zone here. So 27, basically 28 million dollar zone, and also these nice zones here. So in a combination, if we look on a weekly time frame, okay, zoom. Okay, on a weekly time frame, we see that again, on the upper side, we don't have any kind of liquidity to be touched or grabbed anymore. But on the lower zones, meaning anywhere near 30, starting from 38k, 39k, we see $340 million of liquidity to be grabbed. And on even lower zones, so near 38k, 37, and so on, we see all the major liquidity to be grabbed. And while this bullish momentum happened, of course, we had this thing happening, meaning $135 million of worth positions were liquidated on all exchanges. Now, we saw that major positions were liquidated, although price is still showing some kind of major push here after forming this nice 3 white soldier pattern here. But let's not forget that we still need to fill these zones here, meaning at least 30k or at least a touch towards 32k. Now, with that being said, this is basically the overall view we have on the Bitcoin as of now. And as always, stay safe, don't fear. This is the market, and see you in the next session.